Hello, my name is Mikeia. Welcome to my final project for creative and critical thinking. I decided to use Rubik's Cubes to actually help in assisting with my deliverance and to actually give you more of an explanation on the critical thinkers that I chose for this course. So we're going to start with actually explaining the Rubik's Cubes. So over here, I have one that is actually perfect. As you can see, it's been solved. There's no misconstrues or anything like that. And then over here, this is just discombobulated. It's just out of the way. So we're going to talk about Richard first. Richard is representing the color orange. And I chose the color orange because Mr. Richard, he was someone that actually took heed to mathematics, engineering, and he was eventually known for his attributes with quantum mechanics. And one of the things that I actually thought was very strange about him is the fact that he likes quantum mechanics. Like personally, to me, it takes very gifted people to say, hey, instead of, doing the norms, I'm going to go and I'm going to actually, research mathematics and engineering and things of that nature. Richard decided that at a very young age, to the point that he actually worked on mathematics and engineering, which enhanced his knowledge towards quantum mechanics. Although he had these different things that he was very much in love with, and his true passion was teaching. His true passion was passing on this knowledge to other people. How cool and how inspiring is that? Now, with that being said, although he had personal shapings that could have said otherwise, Richard was someone that said, hey, I did not have such a bad life that it allowed me to not be excited about learning. And I think that even in that era, that's so important and it was so fulfilling because even then he showed elements of rising above whatever the consequences and the circumstances may have been in that area. That's something that I think that I can actually take from him. I think that my love for teaching other people is something that we have in relation to each other. Although I do not have a passion for physics or mathematics, my passion lies in other places, such as teaching them about writing, about history, about how to do things with your hands. Different things just about, healthier living. But of course, that was in a different era. So just to, even though our attributes are the same, what we gave or the detail in what we give off to other people or what we want to teach to people are totally different, which makes us unique. We also have Mr. Federico Fellini, who is going to be representing the color green today. Mr. Fellini was a very famous film director and screenwriter. Now, this is something that blew my mind when I was actually, learning about Mr. Fellini. He's actually known for his attributes and his contributions towards the motion picture. Now, for some of us who have not seen a back in the day or a Renaissance or a back like a old time film, motion picture came about due to someone saying, hey, I have a vision that the screen is moving. I actually have a dream that the screen is moving. So what did Mr. Fellini did? He made contributions to make that happen to today. You see different types of cameras that's allowing the pictures to move on different types of films that you love today. And to me, that is just to actually see that and knowing that it was derived from someone like Federico Fellini who actually had a vision for film industry is just everything. And that's something that I think that I can actually take from him as well as Feynman. Both of them actually had a drive to be different. Be different in an era that didn't allow them to be different at first. And I think that's so cool to say, hey, even though I find myself to be nervous, even though I find myself to have failure or have had little education, I'm going to go for it. And these are one of the things that made Fellini one of the most well-known film directors of his era, as well as an iconic figure towards our idea of motion pictures. As well as Miss Mabel Lujan, and I hope I am pronouncing her name right. Please forgive me if I am not. But Miss Mabel Lujan, she is someone who was very, very much known for her free spirit. Now, although I do not date as much, well, I wasn't dating as much, she took her multiple dates and her multiple relationships, and she actually received critical and creative ideas from the many different elements we go through. Think about the different many elements that you yourself receive inspiration from. Miss Mabel had the same exact method of living throughout her course of time, to the point to where she was able to just freely go as she pleased. She was actually able to, she married a couple times, she moved a couple times. But throughout the course of her career, she became one of the most well-known people due to the style of her writing, due to the fact that she had such a carefree spirit and she felt that everything was just interconnected. And those are some of the things and some of the beliefs that I have about the world that we live in. I really believe that everything is interconnected, that we're all connected in some type of way. Also, Miss Maya Angelou, who's representing the color blue, like Angelou. You see what I did there? Okay, so Miss Maya, she is a humanitarian, an educator. She takes time out to do poetry. She was a dancer, she was a singer. She has so many different gifts to share with the world. One of the things that I love about Miss Maya is the fact that she took time out and she treated each of her gifts in a different way. She gave them all each attention. Now, when it came to her poetry, which was primarily what she's known for, she actually went to hotel rooms. She took the time out to say, hey, I don't want to be at home because home is too normal. I'm actually going to go and get a hotel room away from the world where it's just me, my pen, and my paper. And these are some of the elements of just knowing yourself. And I think that's one of the things that she mastered early on in her career. Despite the hardships of being a victim to sexual assault, despite not speaking for at least 8 years after the fact, once she did come back from that hiatus of not speaking, she became so well known due to her wide variety and her wide range of just knowledge. Being able to speak different languages, different things of that nature is some of the things that Maya Angelou became known for due to the fact that she let her personal shapings take her in a positive direction. I think those are elements that not only me, but I think we all can learn, especially being young and becoming an adult in modern day society, because you never know what you may run into. You never know the different aspects that life has to offer or the different things that life may throw into your path. And I think for the element of being able to say, I took my lemon and I turned it into lemonade. In other words, I took my trial and I actually made a success story out of it. And I think in the case of Maya Angelou's entire life, that's what she did from the moment she decided to stop being a victim and become a survivor. And that was one of the things that I actually really respected about her. Also, we have Mr. Leonardo. Mr. Leonardo, I mean, who doesn't love Leonardo, right? Okay, so Mr. Leonardo is also known for his painting. And what's so cool about his painting is that he actually used elements of mathematics, such as geometry, with angles. He used all of these things in his paintings. In fact, one of his most famous drawings had a rough draft that has been published. And this rough draft even shows itself how he used the different math angles in order to come out, and the different angles in order to come out with the whole thing, or the whole entire picture, which was really inspiring. It showed how you could take different elements of what you learn in other areas and apply it to the goal at hand and actually create a creative masterpiece. One of the things that I know I do not have in common with Leonardo is drawing itself. You guys, I cannot draw to save my life. I can't. So those are one of the aspects that as a person I would love to captivate and I would love to master, not for the simple reason of saying that I can draw, but because of the power of drawing. Today, you can actually go and you can look at a painting by Leonardo and you can be so captivated about it, to the point that you're actually just standing there looking at the picture. Like this. This is so beautiful. Like literally, that would be your reaction. So it's to a point to where I think Leonardo is really, really, really one of our best painters to ever cross the board, period. He is someone that showed how you can actually put two or three different aspects together and create a profound masterpiece that can be inspiring and taught through many different generations. As well as Miss Karen Finley. Now, Miss Karen Finley is more modern. However, I love her energy. Miss Karen is very optimistic. She's very outgoing. And she has more so of a carefree attitude. And Miss Karen is basically representing the color red, as opposed to Da Vinci representing white. And basically, Leonardo da Vinci and Miss Karen Finley were both creative thinkers that showed both isolation, but the beautiful outcome of that isolation. For example, Miss Karen Finley was, to be a carefree person, you spend a lot of time together. You spend a lot of time by yourself. And I think with Miss Karen, she took the time out to say, hey, I'm going to be extraordinary. I don't want to write about all of the stories that I've heard people like Maya Angelou and Miss Mabel Lujan and other screen directors. She wasn't so much focused on that. She wanted to take artistry and writing into a different level where we're now talking about the things that are so like the most frightening subjects. She decided that she wanted to put those into her work. That itself is thinking outside of the box. It's being a creative thinker. It's being a critical thinker. And by that, she created an element about herself that showed how being optimistic and just being yourself can actually take you far. And these are one of the elements that I wish that I had about myself. It would take guts to be outgoing. For me, it takes guts to be optimistic in a lot of situations because throughout my life, I have been accustomed to think about calculated risk before thinking about many other aspects, which is sometimes not a bad thing, but in cases of critical and creative thinking, it can lag or it can decrease your level of thinking outside the box and thinking extraordinarily. So all in all, one of the things that I want you to take from this is the fact that with this Rubik's Cube, the one that's perfect, no one has a color. No one has a specific side because we're all circulated and we all are interconnected by experiences, the shapings, the success stories, the losses, the failures, the heartaches, the moments where we've cried, the moments where we smile. We're always interconnected, although we may learn these things at different levels of life. I may learn how to ride a bike at the age of 4. Someone else may know how to ride a bike at the age of 6. You never know. However, we are all connected and we are all interconnected, but we're also very different and we're also very unique. And I think these are some of the best things that I could have possibly taken from my creative thinkers throughout this course, because what they have taught me was that no matter how you put it, no matter which element of life you think about first, it will always end with you and I being one, although we are two different people. Thank you.